Here's something with real integrity, real emotion, and also it's a movie that really does need to be made. It's not being made for the commercial reasons that a lot of movies get made for. This is being made because it's a truly extraordinary story. I don't use that word lightly. That is being made because it's a story that hasn't really been told properly, and here's a wonderful opportunity to tell that story. Me and Colin spent many afternoons kind of in his living room going over the script and playing around with a lot of playing around with different voices and the accents, and you know, whether we were going to do a Scottish accent or use our own voices, and if we were going to use our own voices, how we'd use that, and finding the different qualities in Eric that we thought were very important. I mean, I was always very keen to get this. You know, here's a man who openly admits that he had quite a stunted emotional education in his childhood growing up. He came from a very well, he was part of a very religious sect when he was kind of just a bit younger than me, and I wanted to get this sort of this train spotter kind of characteristics through in the character, because I thought, you know, what made it so moving was you've got someone who's actually very emotionally vulnerable and so, you know, not particularly aware of, you know, the wider world, suddenly being thrown into one of the most awful situations in a place that must have felt so alien to where he grew up and what he was used to. And so I wanted to have someone that, when you saw the world of what we created in Thailand and Australia in building the Death Railway, that would be something that this character would obviously find, you know, very difficult to cope with. And I think that's what makes it so moving. It wasn't made any more challenging at all because, you know, I'm working with one of the greatest actors of their generation, you know, getting to work with Colin Firth, who was so open about his process and so helpful and kind and understanding in you know, and you know, really did want to work together. And you know, it's in a way it's wonderful because you can bounce ideas off each other and you can say, well, you know, I've you know, a number of times I would phone up and say, look, do you think this will work if I did this? And he'd go, well, I don't know, you know, let's play around with it, and we'd, you know, we'd workshop together, and you know, this is something that, you know, most 21-year-old actors kind of only get to dream of doing this sort of masterclass with an actor like Colin, and I didn't find it hindering at all. I was very nervous about going up to meet Eric and Patty for the first time, for two reasons. One, that here is somebody's story that I admired so much and felt such an emotional sort of connection to, that I was, you know, as you would get very starstruck about meeting, you know, I guess you know, a very famous actor, a famous peer. But here's someone who is genuinely extraordinary. You know, and in the acting industry, I think extraordinary is bandied about a lot when you talk about someone's performance. But here is someone whose life is incredible, and you know, his partner Patty, what they have been through is truly extraordinary. And getting to meet somebody who has been through that is, I was almost intimidated, I think. But the other reason was that I was, you know, I'm about to play that real person, and this was something that I thought could so easily be insulting, could so easily undermine their experiences, and I was very, very aware of having to live up to some extent to the real life true story. With Jonathan's directing style, what he's done is he's taken a story that could have been done in a very old-fashioned, traditional way of filmmaking, and he's brought it to life for, you know, the new generations now by shooting it in what I think is a very kind of modern style. And this is something that we can all, it can help us relate to. You know, I find when I watch, you know, films like The Bridge Over the River Kwai and films like that, that although the story is very moving, it's sometimes you feel distance by the filmmaking style because, you know, you associate it with, you know, olden times, whatever that means. And what Jonathan's done is he's made this very real, and he's used a style of filmmaking that I think really brings it to life to a modern day audience.